Yo, 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 it's your boy, Big Mike Raider, and we're here live, guys. Hey, let's jump into it. We got a lot to talk about.
Fuck it, I entertain to play along. They claim they the best in the game when I'm the system that they play it on. They copy me, but my pattern is far beyond strange. I sit back and watch my clones play like LeBron James. See, I'm the illest that's walking under the firmament. A pat on the back from me will leave a pumper that's permanent. They pointed and laughed when cautious wasn't doing well. I needed that. First you learn, then you remove the L. Soon after that, you can't be stopped, get up and go and get it. You gotta activate your hustle if you want specifics. It's no denying me, my flow's terrific. All these candy bars being produced, I guess that may be the golden ticket. My whole life good and evil, been playing tug of war, but still I remain flyer than Marty McFly's hoverboard. Don't trust the soul, too many stabs in the back. They sleeping on me now, it's time to wake them up from their nap. It's a difference between confusion and undeniable rap. That's why fake when they listen and don't know how to act back. Sonic boom, I'm light speeding, trusting haters like scheming. Switch up from good to bad to gremlin type like they night feeding. Rhyming till my teeth broken, time until my speech golden. Keep a heavenly flow, that yoga flames on my teeth smoking. Never will I be duplicated. They ask me cautious where you been, I say through hell where I sat back and recuperated. My aura's lava red illuminated.
Showtime. Hey, it's your boy, Big Mike Raider. Hey, we got a lot to talk about. We got some stuff surrounding CJ Stroud that I'd like to address. Something that we have to talk about in this situation. And it's best to do it right now. We're here on this beautiful Friday. Good to see you guys. Who we got in the chat? We got Van City Raider, my guy, Big Mike, my Raider brother. Let's get it. Dave Ziegler, in an indirect way, just said you can take your S2 test, shine it up real nice, turn it sideways, and stick it. You know what? That is going to be one of the things we do talk about. And it was good to hear that from him. We will talk about that. We'll get more deep into that. Now let's jump into some more guys. The Cloud9 Entertainment. Good to see you, man. Thanks for supporting me as always, man. Jack Kenna, what's going on, man? What's going on? Paul Edgerton, my brother, what's going on from England on the other side of the pond? Good to hear from you. Good to see you, Dominique 5. My boy, what's good? What's good? Jack Kenna. Hey, thanks for pulling up, y'all. Thanks for pulling up. Guys, let's talk about CJ Stroud, guys. CJ Stroud. Now, there was things that were said about CJ Stroud at the beginning of this whole draft, especially after the combine, where he was like, hey, the evaluators and guys were saying, hey, this is the guy who is probably the best on the board between him and Bryce Young. And then the whole Bears and Panthers trade happened, and then the Panthers came out and said, hey, this is going to be our number one pick. As of late, there's been some crazy news coming out regarding it that, CJ Stroud, his stock is kind of dropping. And I kind of want to get into some of those things, right? The first of which is that S2 test. Let's talk about the S2 test just a little bit, guys. I want to shout out to Pro Football Network, Dalton Miller. He wrote an article kind of describing the S2 test. And the S2 test has 9 different cognitive skills. So it pretty much measures cognitive skills, guys. One of which is perception speed, search efficiency, tracking capacity, virtual learning, instinctive learning, decision complexity, distraction control, impulse control, and improvisation. Things that you would like to see from a quarterback. And unfortunately, CJ Stroud scored really low. He scored in the 18th percentile, which is not great. It's not ideal. And now people are coming out saying, this, that he's not the guy that, we were expecting him to be as far as that goes. And hence the reason why we're seeing wait, hold on. I think I'm having some hey guys, am I kind of freezing, guys, by the way? Shout out to Wasted Talent. He says we have an article up on Planet Raiders. Hey, go check out the article on Planet Raiders regarding that. Let me know, guys, if I'm like frozen or kind of frozen in time. I'm having some latency issues for whatever reason. Am I doing all right? Let me know, guys. Shout out to Richard, my boy. Okay, cool. I'm good. All right, from my end, I guess it's just from my end, guys. So yeah, CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, yeah, he's in the 18th percentile on this S2 test. People are saying a lot of things about him that that his stock is dropping. And then another thing that came up was, the whole I'll show you the tweet that just came out, right? Dov Kleiman yesterday talks about CJ Stroud. This is from Brady Quinn, made an announcement to the Manning Passing Academy, but the night before he ghosted him and didn't show up. And when you do that, it's going to set up alarms for people. So CJ Stroud apparently made a commitment and didn't follow through on that commitment, which I'm not really a big fan of. If you make a commitment, you say that you're going to do something, you go ahead and do it. However, if he did talk behind the scenes to Peyton Manning or the camp or what's going on, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt. But because of these optics is the reason why people are kind of like souring on him just a little bit, on top of the fact, this S2 test he scored in the 18th percentile. I don't know, guys. To me, I think that CJ Stroud is a solid player. I think that this is just a bunch of smoke. Now, we can talk about all the smoke that happened this offseason, right? I like to call this period the NFL grift season. So at the beginning of the season, we were given all this good news that Tom Brady was going to come to the Raiders and he was going to be the quarterback of the future. And guess what happened? Brady retires. And then Pro Bowl weekend, we get the whole Aaron Rodgers fiasco. And then you get Devontae Adams. He's on Twitter trolling this and that. And then on top of that, nothing happens on that. Vegas puts him at a minus 500 to come to the Raiders. So my point of saying all that, right, is that there is a lot of these media outlets that are going to come out here and tell you, hey, he's going to drop. He's going to the Raiders, this and that. Guys, don't fall for the bait. We've been seeing this all off season, that this guy's coming here, that guy's coming here, and he's pretty much just stealing our time and effort and money, because time is money, right? So it's just stealing all of our time and effort to go into these platforms and click and getting the traffic in there and getting us all excited. I'm going to tell you something about CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is probably number 1 or at 2, the worst quarterback in this draft. And I think he's still going to go to number 2 at the very worst. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think? Let's jump into the comments. Let's see. I don't care if you're dumb as a doornail, but understand all aspects of playing your position, then play well. Yeah. Another thing, you look at the flip side of it, we got a guy like quarterback Justin Fields. He scored at the top, like the highest anybody's ever scored on this S2 test. And I wouldn't necessarily say that he's like this elite quarterback. Now, you do have guys like Patrick Mahomes. You do have like a guy like Drew Brees who scored really well on this test. But if you score bad on the flip side, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to do well in the league. So, and it's the same thing. It's replacing kind of like the Wonderlic test. Everybody kind of made a big deal about the Wonderlic test years ago. It's kind of on that same realm. It's kind of taking away that whole thing and kind of replacing it with that cognitive test. And you kind of get a better feel. So let's jump in. Let's jump into some more comments, see what everybody else thinks. It was never high on CJ from day one. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I've been high on CJ. It's been to a point now where I kind of lost the whole hope and idea of picking him up and moving up in the first to number 3 to pick him up. But if his draft is dropping and the Texans are kind of souring in on him, which is the rumor that this is happening, which I don't believe. I hope you guys don't believe it. But if that's the case, I'm okay with moving up if that means we're not going to give up too much for it. I don't want to give up too much of the future to grab one guy when we have all these holes on defense that we need to fill. Let's see who else we got in here. Who else? Ricky Pistolas, my boy. What's going on, bro? He says, would you actually want the Raiders to trade up if he's available at 3 to 5? It depends. It depends on how much we got to give up for him. It depends on a bunch of things. Like I really think that we need to focus more on the defense I'm more of a defensive guy, you know that, and I would rather stick to what we have on to what the plan is on defense. So that's kind of where I'm at, bro. Richie, he goes, Ohio State quarterbacks just aren't that good. Historically, you're right. Now, I'm not really a big fan of that whole idea because, you can't really, you can say that about a lot of schools. I mean, USC is the same way. And, there's a lot of schools that have historically haven't done well at quarterback, but these are different coaches. This is a different era. But you're right. Ohio State quarterbacks aren't that great historically. CJ Stroud to me seems like he'd be a solid quarterback in this league. I'm not saying he's a generational talent. I don't think there's any generational talents at quarterback in this year's draft. Maybe a guy like Caleb Williams next year or Drake May. You might be getting those generational guys in that next year. But this year is solid starters that can start for maybe 3 to 5 years, and then you see what happens from there. That's kind of where I'm at with CJ Stroud. He's a solid quarterback, and we honestly need a quarterback for the future at this point. So as long as they don't give up too much, the Raiders don't give up too much to pick him up, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. All these young guys have to develop mentally and physically. I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We also got to consider that he's a young man. The brain doesn't fully develop. Decision-making doesn't fully develop until you're like in your mid-20s. So we really got to keep that in consideration. He's still growing as a prospect. He's still growing as a quarterback. We really got to keep that in consideration. But the 18th percentile is kind of alarming. I'm not going to lie to you. But it just depends on how much you value the S2 test. Now, speaking of valuing the S2 test, today there was an interview with Dave Ziegler, who was asked about this S2 test and what he made of it. And he basically kind of shunned it off. Like my boy Van City said, he was like, hey, I don't really value it too much. We have other ways of evaluating these quarterbacks. And that's cool with me. Like, hey, you got to use all your avenues. You got to do your due diligence, and you can't just have one aspect that you're looking at and seeing that that's the final thing, right? Because you wouldn't be doing your due diligence, and you'll miss out on a good prospect. And I know historically there's been a lot of great quarterbacks who did horribly on the Wonderlic test over the years. There's, on the flip side, you have quarterbacks that did really great on the Wonderlic test. They came into camp and they laid an egg. So we can't take too much into what's going on with this S2 test. And then if you want to talk about, him kind of bailing on the Peyton Manning camp, that is, to me, it's kind of a red flag. I mean, now I can easily say that, but we don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't know what was conversations that were had. I don't know if he, called up Peyton Manning. We don't know this. We're only getting one side of the story, and I'll go a little bit further into that, but let me get some more of these comments. Salute Big Mike, busy at work, stopped in to hit the like button. Have a great show. Run up those likes for the homie Big Mike. Please go ahead and do that. You guys know the drill at this point. Like the thumb, hit the sub, and share it with your folks. That's what we do around here. Big Mike Raider. Guys, you guys know the drill. Jack Kenna, CJ is my top quarterback in the draft this year. Honestly, though, I wouldn't mind going all next year on Caleb Williams. Now, if we do get somebody like Caleb Williams next year, that means we laid an egg this year. So unless we do some kind of magical, like give up the farm to move up to the number 1 spot, that is a possibility. But I'm not eliminating the possibility of us being a contender this year. I'm not saying a Super Bowl contender. I'm talking about contending for a playoff spot this year. We're bringing back a lot of the nucleus that was successful on the defense. The offense, for the most part, is coming back. What's his name? Jimmy Garoppolo. He knows the offense. He can get acclimated, and the offense might be a step better from last year. So I'm not going to completely just be like, hey, this is going to be a terrible year. I want to wait and see what's going on. I hope you guys think the same way. I'm not saying that we're going to go make the playoffs here. I'm not making any kind of like predictions here, but that's kind of where I'm at with it. We're going to wait and see what happens. Salute to you. Terrell Etherly, commitment to excellence, just win championships. Hey, And this is the year that we make it happen. This is going to be one of the most important drafts in Raiders history. We got 12 draft picks, and we need to go 12 for 12, just like David Ziegler said in his press conference today. He wants to go 12 for 12. And I'm all for it, guys. And it starts this year. Commitment to excellence. Just win championships. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I don't take that test very seriously, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not going to take it too seriously either, but it is a part of the puzzle. And there's a lot of the Texans are already saying that they're not really in love with CJ Stroud as a prospect, so they might pass up on him. The commitment issues, possibly, kind of skipping on the Peyton Manning camp. There's little things. When you add up little things, it's kind of like, okay, that it's a little tough. It's a little bit tough, but I don't think he's supposed to drop that far down. I think he'll still stay at that 2 or 3 range, and he's going to still be the second quarterback picked in this draft. What's up, Big Mike? Oxnard repping, salute. Yeah. Hey, I'm out here in Oxnard, man. I'm from Pasadena, but out here in Oxnard, guys. Oxnard, nice and warm today. I don't know why I got the sweater on. It finally hit about 80 degrees today for the first time in quite a while. That never really happens in Oxnard. So, yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Salute to you, bro. What's good, 80s baby? What's good? What's good? So, guys, I wanted to show you another part of the puzzle, right, with CJ Stroud. I want to show you this. There's another piece of the puzzle that I wanted to show you. Let's see. Let me pull it up for you guys real quick. One second. All right, here we go. So Ryan Clark comes in and he responds to the whole Brady Quinn thing, talking about what's going on with the Peyton Manning camp and how he kind of like possibly flaked in on him. Ryan Clark says CJ Stroud never committed to attending the Manning camp. He chose to work with his teammates at Ohio State football instead before his final season. He wasn't paid to go. And furthermore, Brady Quinn, what does acquiescing to the Manning family have to do with leading an organization? So Ryan Clark is basically in defense for CJ Stroud. Now, Ryan Clark, he does have he has a tendency, he has a history of being very player-centric. As a media member, I'm not really a big fan of that. You just tell the news right down the middle, but he has his own podcast. He has his own personal agenda that he's trying to set. He's trying to, bring players in, and he wants to have that rapport with them, and I can respect that. But there is that flip side, right? We don't know the full story, and he is kind of like an insider. These players do they kind of trust this guy, and they can tell him stuff, so they probably told him the truth instead of like these other guys kind of speculating. Maybe Ryan Clark knows something we don't know, so we have to consider that in this situation as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with that one. Let's see what else we got. It says, if you had to pick between Stroud or Richardson, what would you all pick? So guys, let me know. Would you go Richardson or Stroud? It's an easy pick for me, man. I'm going CJ Stroud. I think Anthony Richardson is he has all the upside in the world, but there's too many things that he needs to be polished on. Accuracy is being one of them. He's a very athletic prospect, but there's just too many things to me that make me feel like he's more of a mid first round pick, late first round pick. I don't think he's that top 10 pick, but he wowed everybody in the combine. He got everybody excited with the vertical jump and the broad jump and running a 4.4 in the 40. It's exciting, right? That's exciting ball. But to me, I think CJ Stroud is a more polished quarterback. He's a more experienced quarterback. And I will go CJ Stroud all the way, guys. What do you think? Jack Kenna, he goes CJ Stroud. Ricky, he goes Stroud, no doubt. He says, A-Rod, roll the dice. We in Vegas, baby. Yeah, now, that was, I don't know if you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, but, Aaron Rodgers, that we've been sold a lot of lies this offseason, guys. We were told that it was going to be Tom Brady. We were told it was going to be Aaron Rodgers. Vegas even really duped us too and said that it was going to be a minus 500. It was almost a sure shot that Aaron Rodgers was going to come to the Raiders. You know, he's at the golf tournament and he was over here talking, you know, all this stuff about, oh, okay, Anthony Richardson. Okay, my bad. But, you know, my point is that we cannot really believe what it's a lot of smoke in this offseason, guys. That's the name of the game. You're gonna get duped into clicking things and going in there and getting into their platforms and bringing in the traffic and stuff. So, guys, really just wait to the draft. We're about a week away, and we'll see what happens. That's pretty much where we're at right now. So Cloud9, he goes Richardson. Most people are saying Stroud, man. Richardson is Cloud9 is saying Richardson. Cloud9, let me know why would you pick Richardson over Stroud, man? I would like to know why. Richardson, he has all the athletic traits, like I said, but he's just not polished as that quarterback as I would like. Let me know, Cloud9. Let me know why you would pick Richardson. Nothing against that, man. Like I said, this is a place where we can all disagree and be peaceful and have a back and forth conversation and kind of understand where we're coming from with everybody, with you know, your point of view. There is no right answers here. Nobody has a right answer. Neither of us are GMs, and even the GMs get it wrong, guys. So Cloud9, if you can, man, explain to me why you would think Richardson would be is better than Stroud as a prospect at this point. Here's another question: CJ Stroud or Jalen Carter? I think Jalen Carter is the best prospect overall in this draft. I am going Jalen Carter all the way. Now, yeah, there is stuff going on with him. You know, his legal stuff that happened in the offseason and things like that. I'm not saying I don't care about it. I'm saying that we got to trust if the Raiders do land at number 7 and Jalen Carter's on the board, they pick him. We got to trust that the due diligence was made and that the Raiders actually, you know, turn every stone before they make that call. And on top of that, this dude is a borderline generational talent at the defensive tackle position. Now, I know that he had a bad pro day. He came in 9 pounds heavier than when he was in the combine. But here's the thing: he was dealing with legal battles. He was dealing with a lot of stuff going on at that time. Maybe it just wasn't a good time for him. From that point all the way to the draft, it's been a long time. He could have easily lost that 9 pounds by now, probably lost even more, probably doing all kinds of work to better himself. We cannot really hold that judgment against him over something that's happened over a month ago at this point, guys. And I think that Jalen Carter is one of those special type of players. And if we can grab him at number 7, that is a home run shot. That is an A+ pick to me, guys. That is an A+ pick. Van City, if you can go out and get your future franchise quarterback, you do it 100 out of 100 times. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you right now, if Jalen Carter or Stroud, if you have to choose one, I'm choosing Jalen Carter because to me, he is that generational talent that you don't get every year at the defensive tackle position. You can find a quarterback, and this isn't a quarterback class to where you have a generational talent like this. CJ Stroud isn't a generational type of guy. He is a solid prospect in this year's draft. We can find a quarterback better than him next year. Let me just list the guys that are going to be coming out next year. You got everybody knows Caleb Williams. You got Drake May. You got Sam Hartman, who just transferred to Notre Dame. You got Michael Penix Jr. You got Alex Van Dyke from Miami. Those are 5 quarterbacks right there that is comparable or probably even better than CJ Stroud at this point. So, guys, let's not fall in love with this guy right away. I would say Jalen Carter is the more sure shot success than CJ Stroud is. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Let's see. I mean, Randy Moss had some issues. He dropped into the late first, I believe, in Carter. Man, the talent is a can't miss. Yeah, and the number of teams that passed up on Randy Moss probably bit themselves. You know, they probably were really upset about not picking him when they had a chance. I know the Cowboys had multiple chances to pick him up, and they didn't. And he made the Cowboys pay on numerous occasions, especially on that Thanksgiving game. So, you know, that's a good reason to, that's a good comparison, right? That's a good comparison. Gerardo Escobar, hey, salute to you, bro. Thanks for popping in. Totally agree. I feel Caleb Williams is the next Patrick Mahomes, so I will go Jalen Carter, go all in next year. Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, even if we don't have the number one pick, there's like 5 quarterbacks that are comparable to this guy next year. And so let's not fall in love too much with this guy. That's just kind of how I feel about it. Out of Stroud or Carter, then I pick Carter. Yep, absolutely. Are there any updates to Carter's legal situation? I think recently he like pleaded no contest to the whole accident and all that stuff. I think he's going to be like paying a fine and doing some kind of community service. I'm not really too sure about it, but I think it's solved. I think it's all set now. Slap on the wrist kind of deal. But he might have some other things going on. Don't quote me on that one. I got to look more into that, to be honest with you. There you go. All right, here we go. Stroud or trade for Trey Lance. I'm going to tell you right now, Trey Lance is not the guy that I won't want to pick to get in on this team. Yeah, he's 22 years old, very green. He hasn't played really much, but we've already seen the wear and tear on Trey Lance. So I will go Stroud in this situation. I would rather pick Stroud over trading for Trey Lance. Now, if we have a situation where we can get Trey Lance for like a 4th round pick or a 3rd round pick at the very worst, that's hard to pick. That's hard to kind of overlook, guys. I think that Trey Lance for a cheap price would be a nice addition. But if I had to choose just off of face value alone, I'm going CJ Stroud. Carter, CJ, Gonzalez in that order at number 7. Yeah. Now that just depends on if CJ Stroud drops to number 7. I personally think it's a bunch of smoke, to sum it all up what's going on. So in the case of CJ Stroud, I think that we are seeing a bunch of smoke. Now, guys, to learn more about this whole situation of CJ Stroud, we saw from earlier from my guy Wasted Talent. Go check out planetraiders.com. We got a new article kind of talking and covering more about the CJ Stroud situation. It's more in detail of what I'm talking about. Wasted Talent puts on his pen. Once his pen hits the paper, it's like magic. It's like fire. Go check it out on planetraiders.com. It's an excellent article. Go check it out, guys. But yeah, I would say that CJ Stroud is not going to be dropping to number 7, guys. I really don't believe that. We would probably have to move up to the number 3 position in order for that to happen, to be honest with you. So Spoon and Hobbs and Brown reunited. Now, this is another debate that we've been talking about all off season. Do you go with do you go with Christian Gonzalez or do you go with Devon Witherspoon? Me personally, I like Devon Witherspoon just a little bit more than I like Christian Gonzalez because Devon Witherspoon fits our system a lot better. He fits in the Patrick Graham system. He is very great in the zone. He's a ball hawk. He goes after the ball. Not saying that Christian Gonzalez doesn't do that, but I would love to see Devon Witherspoon team up on the other side with Nate Hobbs in a reuniting of the Fighting Illini that they come together and tear it up in the league. I just think that's something special when you can put 2 college teammates together and make it happen. I know it didn't work out with Derek Carr and Devontae Adams last year, but I think this year, on defense, if you could combine those 2 on the corner, on the bookends of our corner in our corner room, that's a perfect move to me, guys. I think that I would pick Devon Witherspoon over Christian Gonzalez, man. Let me know what you guys think about it. Yep, Spoon, guys. Spoon all day. Cloud9, he says spoon all day. CJ Stroud, 85 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 125.6 QBR in the last 2 seasons. Those are big numbers, man. Those are big numbers that is hard to ignore. But you can also argue that was the college game. Ohio State has all the weapons in the world. So can they do that again in the NFL? It remains to be seen. We'll see. Who is everyone's draft crush this year? All right, guys, let me know who your draft crush is this year. Who's your favorite draft prospect this year? I got quite a few. I'm not going to lie to you. You guys know the 30 days, 30 prospects, where I pick my top 30 prospects by each round that I like for the Raiders to look at and pick when it comes down to it. And I put a scenario in which we would pick this person. And I think my favorite in the first round is Kalijah Cansey and Jalen Carter. I'm a defensive guy. If I had to go second round, I like Drew Sanders and Jack Campbell. They play great. They're linebackers to the fullest. They're strong linebackers. You know, you got a throwback linebacker with Jack Campbell. He's that throwback kind of hit you in the mouth type of linebacker. And then you have a Drew Sanders who can play middle backer, and he can also get to the edge and make plays that way. Third round or even a late second round, you got Daiyan Henley. He's another guy. He's just a football player. He's a guy that just likes to play ball. And you could tell that he's just one of those guys that just likes to hit people. The one I recently did today, Ivan Pace Jr., he's one of my favorite. Dorian Williams. These are guys that are kind of like my draft crush, right? If we had to put it that way, right? Those are my guys. On the offensive side, I've been a big fan of Tank Dell. I've been a fan of Iosivas from Princeton, the tall, athletic wide receiver. He's like a 5th, 6th round projection. Those are the guys that I was looking at receiver. I like Mohamed Ibrahim, the running back from Minnesota. He's more of a 7th round projection, but we don't need a running back. So, I kind of pass on that. But those are the guys that I'm looking at. Like, yeah, those are the ones that are like kind of my guys that I'm looking at and I'm going to follow when it comes to the season starting. So, yeah, those are my draft crushes, right? I got quite a few. Christopher Munoz, what's up, bro? What's going on, man? Thank you for pulling in. Sean Johnson, Drew Sanders and Dorian Williams linebacker combo would be dangerous. So Jack Campbell and Dorian Williams. I would love Jack Campbell and Dorian Williams. That's like thunder and lightning at the linebacker position. That'd be like a perfect combination. I really hope that happens. Richardson, just because he's an athletic freak and has the highest possible ceiling, but I'll agree he is a gamble. He's a big gamble. He is a big gamble, and man, I don't know if I want to take that gamble. It's tough, man. It is tough. My favorite, Gonzalez or Tuli. I like Tuli Pelotu. He's solid. I just didn't like the fact that he came in a lot lighter. I would like to see him be a little bit heavier so he can go in the 3 technique and the edge. But I still like him. He's a USC guy, of course. That's my guy right there. Let's see who else. Any linebacker that can play like Ray Lewis. And I think the one that can play like Ray Lewis the closest is probably going to be Jack Campbell. He's athletic. He's a throwback type of guy. He hits you in the mouth. I think Jack Campbell is that guy that can probably play closest to Ray Lewis. Now, I'm not saying he's the next Ray Lewis. I say he's the closest in this draft class to a Ray Lewis. Big difference. How do I feel about Quentin Johnson? He's solid. He's a solid wide receiver from TCU. I think he's probably the number 1 wide receiver off the board. I've seen a lot of people picking him first at a wide receiver class. I do like him. We don't need any receivers, but yeah, Quentin Johnson's solid. I like him. He has great speed. I saw him play a couple times with TCU. Solid prospect, man. Solid prospect. Marvin Mims Jr., thoughts? You know what? I'm gonna have to look more into him. I know he's was he a wide receiver? Was he at Oklahoma? I'm not too sure, but You know what? I haven't been really doing too much on the wide receivers because, like, after what happened in this offseason, the wide receiver position is kind of like on the back burner to me. Soon as I saw that we signed like 5 receivers in the offseason, I'm like, we're probably not picking a wide receiver probably until like the mid rounds, 4th, 5th, and maybe Mims might be there, but I believe he's like a 2nd or 3rd round projection guy. So Darnell Wright is solid. Yeah, that is a solid. Him at tackle at Tennessee. Yeah, I like him as well, man. I do. Jalen Carter, number 1. You know what? Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech was like my original crush. I kind of fell off from him. I like his measurables. He's very quick. He has the prototypical size for a defensive end / edge. He's like he's a good prospect too, but we don't need an edge, especially in the 1st round. That would be, if we do that, that's more of like a what is that? Like a luxury pick, a pick that we don't necessarily need, but we're making anyway. I think we need to fill up too many gaps for that kind of move to happen. I wouldn't be too happy with that pick, to be honest with you. Manuel Riva, hey, what's up, bro? What's going on, man? What's going up, Manny? Hey, thanks for popping in, bro. Jack Kenna, Spoon. Yeah, I like Spoon too. He gets after the ball. He's a ball hawk. He does it all. He's one of my favorites too. I'm not really a big fan of corners. I'm more of a linebacker guy. I'm more of a front 7 guy. I'm more of a offensive lineman guy. That's just kind of my forte, to be honest with you. But I do like Spoon. Osiris Torrance, right guard, man. This man, I never gave up a quarterback sack in 4 years. Yeah. Osiris Torrance is one of those guys. Another guy that didn't give up sacks in his entire career is Jared Patterson. Now, I know he's like a 4th round pick projection. I think he's a solid guy. Another one is, what's the guy's name? Andrew Voorhees from USC. Another solid offensive interior lineman that can get it done. And I think we can, pick him in the 4th round or late 3rd, store him away and let him heal up. And then by next year or even late this season, he can go out there and tear it up. I would love to see that. Wide receiver from the Sooners, I think that's Mims Jr. Let's see. Who else? Tight end class is much deeper and better than the wide receiver. Yeah, it is. You got Darnell Washington. He's probably the best blocking tight end in this drive. He's probably the most well-rounded tight end. Dalton Kincaid, he's more of a receiver type of tight end. He does well. Michael Mayer from Notre Dame, he's solid. Who else did we got here? Tucker Kraft from South Dakota State. He's one of those under-the-radar type of dudes. And then you go later, I'll also be covering him in my 30 Days, 30 Prospects. We got a guy, Payne Durham, who's going to probably be a 6th or 7th round kind of guy. He did well in the Senior Bowl. Not the fastest dude in the world, but he's a traditional type of tight end that blocks well and can catch well. He's one of those old school throwback type of tight ends that you would like to see from Purdue. Those are the type of guys that I would like. Tank Nathaniel Bell will be the wide receiver I would want rounds, 32 touchdowns, over 3,200 yards and pass. Yeah. He's solid, bro. He's solid. Yeah, that's another guy I do like, one of the receivers. It's unfortunate that, maybe we might still pick up a receiver, but we just did so much signing of receivers. I'm not too sure where we stand with that. I believe this draft will be a success. I'm ready for all the overreactions, but I believe in this front office. I do too, especially after hearing from Ziegler. He's still keeping a lot. He's still, he's still holding his cards close to him. He's not really giving away the plan. One thing I do like what he did say was that this draft is he's going to draft to compete. He wants to, even if that means you have to bring in another quarterback, he's going to compete. He's going to bring in guys to compete with other guys. So that just tells me that it's up for grabs. Anybody can get drafted at any point, best available type of situation. So, hey, we might get a few surprises in this draft, guys. Guys, speaking of surprises, Latu, yeah, that's another one. Speaking of surprises, guys, let me know Give me a bold prediction for this draft coming up next. It's in 6 days, guys. Give me a bold prediction. I want to hear a bold prediction from the Raiders. What do you think a bold prediction will be from them? What do you think would happen? Something that would surprise you that the Raiders do. Give me your predictions here, and then I'll share you my predictions. Actually, here's my prediction. I think that the Raiders will move up in the 4th round because we have three 5th round picks. I think we're going to move up in the 4th and one of those 5ths and something else. We're going to make a trade up to move to the 4th. So we'll end up with 2 4th round picks and maybe lose a 6th or 7th round pick. I think that's one of the big moves realistically. Bold prediction. We do make that move to move up to the number 3. And we do get CJ Stroud. That will blow the roof off the building. That'll be like more my bold prediction. But I see us moving into the 4th round and making a special kind of move to pick up like an Ivan Pace Jr., get 2 4th round picks, 2 solid guys that can come in the 4th round and be a rotational or even starter on this defense. That's kind of where I'm at, more realistic type of pick that I would like. Sean Johnson, I believe defensive tackle. Keanu Benton, I believe he will be a Raider. Yeah, he met with, I don't know if he did a top 30 visit, but I know that at the Senior Bowl, him and Patrick Graham and then the whole Raiders squad they met up a lot. They had a lot of talks and stuff. So, yeah, Keanu Benton, I believe that he's probably one of the odds-on favorites to kind of become a Raider possibly in the 3rd round. I'm all right with it. Dude has a motor. He can get the job done. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with it. Cloud9 Entertainment, he says, we will move back up in the 1st round and trade Renfro in the process. Big Mike said bold. Hey, no, it's bold. It's a bold pick, but it's kind of realistic. Now, let's talk about who's going to be on this trading block, right? Is it bold to say that Josh Jacobs is on this trading block? Can we say that? Do you guys believe that? And if he is, do we combine him in a trade to move up to that number 3 with the Arizona Cardinals? Now, the Cardinals do need a running back. They need a running back. So if we combine the number 7 and Josh Jacobs, do you think we move up to the number 3 with that and maybe get some additional? How do you feel about that kind of move, guys? Let me know. That is a bold prediction for me. I'm not saying that I don't want to get rid of Josh Jacobs, but they cannot see eye to eye on a contract situation. And I think the Arizona Cardinals will be more than willing to pay him whatever he wants. You guys let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know what you guys think about it. Prediction, no worthy quarterbacks at 7. Raiders trade back with Bucks and get Devin White. No. Now, Devin White's asking for too much money, man. Devin White's asking for too much money. He was about like $20 million or something crazy like that. I don't know how I feel about that kind of move. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about it. Cloud9, he goes, I would be sad, but I wouldn't mind it, to be honest. Now, here's the thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Did we get the best already from Josh Jacobs already? Is that a possibility? Did we get the best from him? Now, he's had solid seasons over the years. The year before, he didn't even break 1,000 yards. He did have some injuries, but he did have a couple of 1,000-yard seasons before that. This year, he broke out with 1,600-plus yards. I think that overall, the Raiders were smart in not giving him a long-term deal. When I really think about it, emotions aside, right? I think that they were smart in not giving him a long-term deal because I would like to see him do it again. I hate to say that because in this market, running backs don't really get the bag that they deserve. And when it's time for them to get a bag, guys don't want to give them the bag because they're beyond their prime or at the tail end of their prime. So it kind of sucks the timing, right? But I don't know how I feel about Josh Jacobs getting a getting a long-term deal after one season of doing monster numbers like that, guys. I don't know. You guys let me know how you feel about Josh Jacobs. I wouldn't be too upset about a trade to the Arizona Cardinals, for the number 3, the number 7, give our number 7 to Josh Jacobs for number 3 and maybe an additional draft pick, maybe in the later rounds, something like that. I don't know what the even deal would be on that one, but that's just, kind of shooting from the hip. You guys let me know. Let me know. I mean, that's personally what I think about that one, guys. So that's kind of where I stand. Guys, we have 17 in the building. Guys, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. Big Mike Raider. Here we go. Here we go. Our running back room is stacked. Fullback 1 is Jacob Johnson, Jacobs, Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, Sincere McCormick, Brandon Bolden, who probably needs to go at this point. Britton Brown, who probably won't be seeing. I don't think he's going to make it. I forgot we had Austin Walter, who played well in the preseason as well. So, you know what? If I had to get rid of a few, I'm getting rid of Brandon Bolden. Britton Brown, I'll let him walk, and then Austin Walter, we'll let him walk, and then we kind of roll with the rest. I also want to see what we get from Sincere McCormick. We don't really know what we got from him yet, but we're stacked at the running back room right now. It wouldn't be surprising if we did draft another running back, maybe in the later rounds too. There's a guy from Tulane, Tyjae Spears, who's a solid running back. He might be one of the biggest steals at running back in this draft too. So we'll see. We'll see. DC told you Josh McDaniels gets the most out of his running backs. I'm not worried. Okay. Yeah, and I just want to see Josh Jacobs do it again, but at the same time, it's like, is he gonna do it again if he's not getting paid? You're kind of like, do you pay him? And then how do you pay him? It's a tough situation. It's a very tough situation. Jack Ken, okay, my boldest move. Raiders trade a few picks for next year and go all in for Caleb Williams next year. Now that's bold. Yeah. Then that'll really let us know that this year is a for sure rebuild year and that we're playing for 2024. I don't know how much I like that too much. I want to win now, but if that means that we're building for the future, I guess I'll swallow that pill and I'll be all right with it in the long run. So, yeah, that's a bold move right there. Bold take. Zeig and Josh said that they will draft best player available. If we draft Paris Johnson Jr., I wouldn't mind this either. I know a lot of Raiders would be pissed though. Yeah, man, that will not be a good night if we end up picking Paris Johnson Jr. or Peter Skoronski, something like that. I'm not a fan of picking an offensive lineman in the first round this year. I just don't like it. I don't like it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I hope you're wrong, man. Please stop with the Caleb Williams, man. We are not getting him. Yeah, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. We see the jersey makeups where we put a quarterback in a Raiders jersey. We see the visual all the time. We've seen Caleb Williams in a Raiders jersey. We've seen Tom Brady in a Raiders jersey. We've seen Aaron Rodgers in a Raiders jersey. We've seen Hendon Hooker in a Raiders jersey. We've seen Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud. We've even seen Bryce Young in a Raiders jersey. I'm kind of with you, man. I'm kind of tired of seeing it. I want to see what the Raiders do in real life. And I think that we would have to give up way too much to get Caleb Williams next year. And if we are in a position to get Caleb Williams, that means that we stunk it up this year. And I don't like the idea of stinking it up that way. And I don't think that we're going to stink it up like that. I'm not saying we're making the playoffs. And I'm not saying that we're going to be the number 1 pick next year either. So that's kind of where I'm at. Sean Johnson, stack room wide receiver, Devontae Adams, Phillip Dorsett, Tyler Johnson, Chris Lacey, Jacoby Myers, Cam Sims, Hunter Renfrow, Keelan Cole, DJ Turner, DeAndre Carter. Yeah, we don't need any more receivers. That's kind of where that was my point. Like, I would love to pick another receiver, but it's just what for at this point? We have so many. So that's kind of where I'm at, man. CJ Stroud is a Raider. We just have to wait till Thursday to see him in silver and black. Raider Jim, I love your optimism. If I had to put a percentage on this, I'm going to say a 10. Actually, I'm going to put 7% because for CJ Stroud, number 7. Now, hopefully, all the number 7s mean good luck and that CJ Stroud is in the silver and black and that we don't give up too much for him. Or by off chance, a lot of these teams are souring on CJ Stroud due to all the developments that's going on. The S2 test, like I talked about earlier, him breaking his commitment with Peyton Manning in his camp, things like that. If that means teams are souring on him and he drops down to number 7, man, that would be the most perfect situation. We don't have to give up anything. We can just pick him outright. That would be the greatest scenario. But if I had to give a percentage on it, I'm saying 7%, guys. 7% for the 7th pick for number 7, CJ Stroud. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Cloud 9, he goes, our quarterback room this year will be Jimmy G, Brian Hoyer, and Tanner McKee. And I'm going to switch Brian Hoyer with Tanner McKee. I think Brian Hoyer's in there to guide a young rookie and help out Jimmy G learn that offense. I don't think Brian Hoyer will ever see the field. He is a 3rd-string quarterback, guys. I think Tanner McKee, if he was to get drafted by the Raiders in the 3rd round of some sort, I think Tanner McKee will be a 2nd-string quarterback. I don't think he'll ever be a starter, but we'll see. I don't really know too much about Tanner McKee. I know that he's from Stanford. Really tall, lanky kind of quarterback, has a pretty solid arm. Didn't really have like the type of weapons that you would hope for. Not the type of weapons that CJ Stroud or Bryce Young had in his career. So, yeah, you never know. You never know. Tanner McKee is one of those wild cards, to be honest with you. Let's see. Caleb Williams don't want that SEC smoke. Balling at USC is not the same as balling in the SEC. He's not all that to me. That's a fair assessment. And, it's a fair assessment. I think that this year will be a make or break year for Caleb Williams. I could see his stock kind of dropping if he doesn't do well with USC. If he goes to the college football playoff and then he runs into a Georgia, Alabama, something like that, and he lays an egg, that'll tell the story about Caleb Williams. But Caleb Williams, when he doesn't have his mobility, he's not really that great. So I'll give you that. When you saw it against Utah in that Pac-12 championship, he tore his ankle. Well, not tore his ankle. He twisted his ankle, and he just wasn't the same guy. When after that injury, he couldn't move around. He wasn't great in the pocket. So I'll give you that. I like Clayton Tune over McKee. Yeah, Clayton Tune is just one of those quarterbacks. It's just he kind of reminds me of old school gunslinger. Get the ball down the field, put up big numbers. I think that's a solid. I think that's a solid assessment right there. McKee, I don't really know too much about him, so I can't really tell you, man. A very weak linebacker room: Divine Diablo, Luke Masterson, Robert Spillane, Darian Butler, Curtis Bolton. Yeah, so we and then we don't even have our outside linebacker number 2. So we definitely need some fresh faces in the linebacker room. I liked how Luke Masterson played last year in relief. He played well at the linebacker position. Spillane, they're talking about giving him the green dot. I'm not really sold on that. We'll see. We definitely need at least 2 linebackers in this draft, guys. And AR-15 destroy Utah. Absolutely, you're 100% right. So, hey, you might be on to something. We'll see next year, man. I mean, we're talking about Caleb Williams in a positive light right now because he won the Heisman Trophy. He had a monster season, but we might be having a different tune this same time next year. We might be talking about Drake May or Michael Penix Jr. I think Michael Penix Jr. is better than Caleb Williams, to be honest with you. I had this discussion with Wasted Talent the other day. I was like, I think Michael Penix Jr. is one of those quarterbacks that can win the Heisman next year. So out of Washington, he puts up big numbers. He has a great arm. Look out for him this year, Washington, man. He's going to be one of those Heisman front runners at the beginning of the season. Raiders love Jake Haener too. Yeah, Jake Hayner's solid. He plays very. He has a lot of guts. He stays in a pocket. He takes a hit. Solid quarterback. I think he's a 5th round guy. I'm all right to pick him in a later round, in the 5th round, if that's the case. Now, everybody, when you talk about Jake Haener, they want to say Derek Carr, right? They're not the same type of quarterback. They went to the same school, but they're not the same type of quarterback. I'd be all right with picking up Haener, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. Spencer Rattler will be a sleeper next year. Stay tuned. You got Spencer Rattler, right? We out of South Carolina. You also got DJU, who just transferred to, I believe he went to Oregon. He was with Clemson. I think he went to Oregon. Not Oregon. It was Oregon State. He went to a Pac-12 school. So, you got these guys that are, trying to build their resume for the 2024 draft. There's going to be a whole slew of quarterbacks next year. You might have 5 or 6 in the 1st round, to be honest with you. So let's not fall in love with CJ Stroud or any of these guys this year. That's my point. What's weaker, Raiders linebackers or DBs? I would say linebackers by far. Now, if you look at the DB room, we're about one piece away from having a solid room, right? We got Nate Hobbs. The reason why he struggled a little bit because he had a hand injury. I think he could play well. I would like to see him in the slot, but he has the ability to play on the outside if he needs to, right? It's I'm not saying that the DB room is strong, but I think the linebacker room is just that much weaker than the DB room. I think we at least have a Nate Hobbs that can kind of get things done. So that's kind of where I'm at. D-line room, Max Crosby, Justin Willis, Tillery, Neil Farrell, Bilal Nichols, Matthew Butler, Chandler Jones, and Malcolm Kuntz. I think Malcolm Kuntz isn't going to make this team this year, guys. I think Malcolm Kuntz is going to be one of those guys that gets replaced by one of these later round guys. Hopefully it's like a Carl Brooks. I'd be all right with that. You guys let me know. Bo Nix, that's another. Shador Sanders. Man, it's a stacked quarterback class next year, guys. Let's not fall in love, man. I'm telling you. Bo Nix, I forgot about him. Caleb Williams is staying where he's at the Rams, and I can see him staying with the Rams. Rams being that number 1 pick. I can see that next year. Just them involuntarily, unintentionally tanking the season, right? I can kind of see it, to be honest with you. Nate Hobbs, Faison, Webb, David Long Jr., Amik Robinson, Tyler Hall. And Amik Robinson played well. So, on top of that, there's like the DB room is not as bad as the linebacker room. The linebacker room needs a lot of help. Who was that DN that played well in the preseason but never played in the games? Are you still on the team? I think that's Bauer. Was it Bauer? Bauer, I think he played well in the preseason. I'm not too sure. But Marcus Epps, Keemer, Jalen Elliott, Trevon Merrick. Yeah, strong safeties and free safeties might need a little bit of help. But the wild card here is Isaiah Polamau. I think that he can come out and surprise a lot of guys. He played well when he was in last year. So, hey, you never know. Guys, I think that is about it. We're rushing. We're getting up to that hour mark right now. We have 16 in the chat. Guys, make sure you guys like the thumb, hit the sub, and share with your folks. Big Mike Raider. Hey, guys, I wanted to just talk about CJ Stroud a little bit, talk about where we kind of feeling, where he's at right now. How do we feel about this whole S2 test and everything kind of surrounding with him? I kind of want to see where you were coming from. Also, if you want to get a little bit more about the CJ Stroud news, go check out planetraiders.com. Wasted Talent just dropped an article on it. Go ahead and check it out. It's going to be a haymaker. I just got the news from him. I'm going to check it out myself. Guys, go ahead and do that. Now with that, I'm heading out. You guys have a great Friday. You guys be safe. No drinking and driving tonight. All that good stuff, man. I want to see you guys here on the next one, man. Take care. You guys have a good one. Peace out.
Fuck it, I entertain and play along. They claim they the best in the game when I'm the system that they play it on. They copy me, but my pattern is far beyond strange. I sit back and watch my clones play like LeBron James. See, I'm the illest that's walking under the firmament. A pat on the back from me will leave a pumper that's permanent. They pointed and laughed when cautious wasn't doing well. I needed that. First you learn, then you remove the L. Soon after that, you can't be stopped. Get up and go and get it. You gotta activate your hustle if you want specifics. It's no denying me, my flow's terrific. All these candy bars being produced, I guess that may be the golden ticket. My whole life good and evil, been playing tug of war, but still I remain flyer than Marty McFly's hoverboard. Don't trust the soul, too many stabs in the back. They sleeping on me now, it's time to wake them up from their nap. It's a difference between confusion and undeniable rap. That's why fake they listen and don't know how to act back. Sonic boom, I'm light speeding, trust the haters like scheming. Switch up from good to bad to gremlin type like they not.